Go ahead.
Can I talk about like there's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana Purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too, $50 million, I think it was. And we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. Because, but
that's good. That's a good one, John. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like we are here to work together.
Yeah.
And some things we can agree or disagree. But I think that's.
So today we have John Fetterman actually defending Trump over the idea to buy Greenland, which you may remember during the first term was something of a meme because he reportedly said that in a private meeting. But now Trump appears to be absolutely serious about moving forward with.
Don't be around. My son, and he's a real hunter, fisherman, and all the things that you love. And I thought it'd be great to go up there with his two very talented friends and the other group, a lot of other people. So I just want to say that it's a very special place. It needs security for itself, but it also needs security very much for the world. The location really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships, and they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Yes.
You're so strategically located.
Yeah.
So it's really imperative.
You are right.
I just want to thank everybody.
You guys like that, right?
Yeah, we're learning a lot. It's been great. Actually, incredibly beautiful place. The people are incredible. The welcome was spectacular. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that's great. Well, you go have a good time, everybody, and we're going to treat you well, and you know that. And just take care of yourselves. Thank you all very much.
See you soon.
Be good.
Thank you.
He's also talking about Canada, which I think is more of a joke. I think that's more of a negotiating tool with the new Canadian government than it is a serious talking point, but we'll address that as well. But first and foremost, I do want to point out that this is yet another instance of the rest of the Democratic Party basically making fun of Trump. They're ridiculing him. And just like you saw in the election, what was John Fetterman saying? Well, discredit, humiliate, make fun of Trump at your own peril, because there is actually seriousness in what he's saying. And when you take off the partisan goggles, John Fetterman actually admits maybe the idea here to buy Greenland isn't crazy. It actually makes perfect sense. Take a listen.
Go ahead.
Can I talk about like there's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana Purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too, $50 million, I think it was. It was referred to as Seward's Folly, and now that was Alaska now. So, I mean, open to having all kinds of conversations as well. And now I don't think it's not helpful to freak out, but some things might work out, some may not, but that's part of an ongoing dialogue. But he hasn't even taken office in 2 weeks, and, we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. Because, but
that's good. That's a good one, John. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like we are here to work together.
Yeah.
And some things we can agree or disagree.
Yeah. So again, there you have John Fetterman telling the liberals that if they're going to freak out about something, this is probably not the right thing to waste your resources on. And when you break it down furthermore, the decision, the wanting to buy Greenland is actually a pretty smart idea. By the way, if you're enjoying the content, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. You subscribing is the #1 way to ensure we can keep bringing you these videos. And while you're at it, be sure to let me know down in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this whole Greenland issue? Do you think it's smart? Do you think it's a strategically good thing? But I'm going to say first and foremost, if you're informed on this issue and you're taking off the partisan goggles. Again, I know a lot of Democrats just want to ridicule it because it's like, oh my gosh, the United States expanding its borders? What a crazy idea, as if that hasn't happened repeatedly in the history of this country. I don't know, just saying, okay? You know, if we had the Louisiana Purchase, as John Fetterman brings up there, if we had that, if we bought Alaska, if we annexed places like Puerto Rico and Guam, why exactly can't the US buy Greenland? Like, I actually think it reflects pretty genius thinking, but we'll talk about that in a second. First and foremost, let's be clear. So why buy Greenland? Does it sound stupid if it's just a meme? Well, there are two primary reasons why the US buying Greenland is such a smart idea. Number one is its strategic position in the Arctic, right? It's a great place for military bases. It's a great place for planes to stop on the way to Europe, etc., etc. But perhaps more importantly than that, as you can see in this article here, it has a trove of natural resources, including rare earth metals. And why specifically is that important? Well, it should make pretty common sense why minerals like copper and zinc and iron and stuff like that are valuable resources. But also on top of that, the issue that the United States currently has is that China is dominating the rare earth production of minerals around the world and has already, as you can see from this article, threatened to restrict the export of critical minerals and associated technologies ahead of Trump's second term. So again, guys, it actually makes perfect sense. And if you take the partisan goggles off, you would understand that the United States buying Greenland would be a massive economic gain. It would better this country. It would better the average quality of life in this country. It would be a huge slap in the face to our geopolitical adversaries. It's a good thing for national security. Like, there's literally no downside to buying Greenland besides the fact that you want to make stupid jokes about it. Oh, and by the way, the same exact thing was true of the Panama Canal, and here was Trump talking about that in his press conference earlier today.
Being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. You know, it's the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either.
Yeah, so again, ridicule Trump and his ideas here at your own peril. What he is saying makes perfect sense. It is completely logical, okay? He has not lost his mind whatsoever. The United States retaking the Panama Canal is not only the morally just thing in my perspective, because we built it, like it belongs to our country. We should have never freaking given it up. And then we give it up to Panama and that's how they treat us. Screw it. Take the thing back, right? Like, that's fine with me, honestly. And as for Greenland, it's just a strategically smart thing to buy. It's a good investment for the United States. Now, as for annexing Canada, let me be clear, that is not a serious proposal, okay? That is not something that's going to happen at least in the next few decades. I think the reason why Trump is kind of throwing that out is for one of two reasons. Number one, the 51st state talk, the point he's trying to make is that why is Canada putting such high tariffs on America when America basically subsidizes their entire economy? That's more of a negotiating tool. And secondly, number two, it is probably, I think in a way, Trump sometimes does this, right? He has the serious plan, and then he has like the crazy sounding plan that people will ridicule, so it distracts from the serious plan. Maybe the talk about annexing Canada is a smokescreen to kind of tamper down the controversy so that Greenland and the Panama Canal, which I do think he's serious about, actually don't sound all that crazy. And I think the underlying brilliance in all of this, and the reason why I'm defending Trump so much on these ideas to annex Greenland and annex the Panama Canal, besides the fact that they just make strategic and practical sense and economic sense for the United States, is that it reflects that Trump here is essentially playing on a totally different field from all the other politicians in the last few decades of the United States. And by the way, that's why the idea of the U.S. annexing new territory sounds so crazy to you, because it is so unorthodox, but actually so much smarter when you think about it. Because the political establishment's geopolitical approach to United States policy for the past several decades has essentially been to like try to hold on to power, right? We have been seeing America's global position slip away, right? China's beating us in economy, Russia's taking new territory, the Middle East, the Iraq war was an embarrassment, etc. We've been slipping and slipping away, and essentially what all the politicians are trying to do is like hold on for dear life, right? Let's fund some proxy wars to try to like keep the United States' hegemony. Let's, buy oil from Saudi Arabia because we need it, and we're just like beaten down and so desperate. What Trump is doing is the opposite of that, right? Instead of starting endless wars, instead of just trying to play defense in America's global position, what he's trying to say is, why not play offense? But what he's trying to do is peacefully expand not only just America's borders, but, America's borders in a way that significantly increases our economic strength, our, ability to control natural resources. Obviously, the Panama Canal is vital for global trade, and Greenland has so many resources in a good strategic position. Again, the only reason that sounds crazy to you is because it's so smart, it would have never been tried by any of America's politicians in the last several decades, right? That's why it sounds like so out of left field and crazy. No, it actually makes, again, completely perfect sense. And what Trump is essentially trying to do is play the game in a similar, I would say not the same because it's not going to be violent like I said, but a similar logic to the way China and Russia are playing the game in the world, which is like, okay, if they want Ukraine, if China wants Taiwan, should America just sit back and watch? Or why shouldn't America say, okay, then we should want Greenland, we should want the Panama Canal, we should want perhaps a renegotiated trade deal with Canada because that benefits us? I don't know. I'm just saying, again, I think he's playing the game on a different field. That's why some people don't understand it. That's why some people want to ridicule it and make stupid jokes. But in reality, he's correct. And that's something that I think John Fetterman is recognizing. But with that said, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.